My friends, the last Sunday of Advent is here, and the clock is quickly ticking away, the very last moments until Christmas finally arrives. Later today, as the sun sets, we move into the celebration of the Lord's Nativity, and it went by fast. This is the fastest year that it can go by. When Christmas falls on a Monday, we get the very shortest Advent possible. And so it seems like just yesterday that we lit that first candle on our Advent wreath. And here we are. The fourth one we light today, and it will barely have a chance to burn before the glory of Christmas sweeps in. It's already begun to encroach. We've put the flowers out and the wreaths out, and tonight the lights will be on and Christmas will be here. And so as we find ourselves in church this morning in these last moments of Advent, how do you find yourself today? Where do you find yourself at this moment? Are you relaxed and looking forward to some celebrations later? Are you a little stressed, maybe, about what needs to be done, about life and responsibilities? Are you joyful and excited? Or are you sad, maybe a bit off? Wherever we're at today, it's okay. And wherever we're at right now, we give to God. But I'm going to ask for all of us to put that on hold for just a couple of moments, because there's another person who struggles with Christmas are worth meditating on and can perhaps give us a little bit of perspective and I think a holier appreciation for the great feast we're about to celebrate. I'm talking, of course, about Our Lady. Now, our gospel today is one that we have already heard several times throughout the Advent season. You've come to daily Mass. We just heard it not that long ago. We heard it on the Feast of the Immaculate Conception. And it speaks about the Annunciation of the Incarnation, that holy day when Jesus Christ took flesh in the womb of Mary, when the angel Gabriel came to her and asked her to take on this incredible responsibility. Now, this story has been the favorite of artists throughout the centuries. There are beautiful paintings and sculptures. We have one in our sanctuary of the Annunciation. It's one of my favorite that has been depicted in art. But it's also one that is very easy for us to romanticize. When we romanticize it too much, we can lose the sort of overwhelming profundity of that moment, a profundity that Mary would not have experienced just in her mind, but in the very depths of her soul. When we look at what is being asked of her today, of a child in her own respect, a young teenage girl from the backwater town of Nazareth, she's being asked to do something that she probably thought herself not capable of doing. She found herself in a position where God was asking her to take on the greatest task that a human creature would ever take on. What was she going through in that moment? What was she feeling? What was she experiencing? My guess is that it was the whole gamut of human emotion. Probably everything and anything that human beings around the world are feeling today on the cusp of Christmas. A little bit of fear, a little bit of uncertainty, a little bit of joy, everything in between. But Mary shows us what to do with all of that today. Because in her holy actions, how she responds to the angel, and what she does in her life shows us what you and I can do when we find ourselves in similar moments. But let's go. Let's go into Mary's emotions today. Let's go into her experience of the angel asking her to become the mother of God. Now, we have to use our imaginations for this because we are not told what she was experiencing. But we do know that although she was without sin, she's as human as the rest of us. which means that all of her emotions would have been completely felt and experienced just without sin. And I think that's important for us to remember as well. You and I oftentimes will moralize our feelings, whether it's fear, whether it's grief and sadness, or whether it's joy. We think some feelings are good and we want to have them, and other feelings are bad and we shouldn't have them. It's not true. Only actions come into the realm of morality. And Mary shows us today that you can have it all at the level of emotion and then act in accord with what is good and true and beautiful. So what might have been going through her mind in that moment when the angel came to her? We're told, St. Luke tells us, that it was fear. She was afraid. She was greatly troubled. Maybe it was because she was startled. We don't often think about that. But I was working in the church earlier this week, late at night, and somebody had come in, and I didn't realize it was somebody who had a key. It was a legitimate entry, don't worry. But they took me by surprise, and I was startled, and my heart was jumping like this. I bet Mary felt that in those first moments, taken by surprise by an angel. And if I had found an angel in the church, I might have dropped down dead. Who knows, right? But that first experience of being shocked, of being jolted, of being fearful, Mary would have felt that. I presume as much. And then, once you realize, okay, this is actually happening, then the import of what is being asked starts to sink in. And all of the consequences that come from this would have probably immediately been running through her mind. Okay, you're asking me to be the mother of God. That's amazing, but this does not come without consequences. I am not married. I do not have a husband. How is this child going to be conceived in me? What are people going to say? There are laws against this, and people get stoned for this. What is Joseph going to say? How am I going to explain this to him? Will he still love me? Will he still want to marry me? What are my parents going to say? All of those questions and all of the emotions that come with them would have flooded Mary's heart and soul at that moment. And all of them are okay. When you and I have similar questions and concerns, we shouldn't run away from them. And we shouldn't tell ourselves not to feel them. We make room for them. And we honestly offer them up. Mary did too. She didn't keep it to herself. She expressed her concerns to Gabriel. She blurted out with true sincerity, how's this going to happen? Please explain it to me. Not from a position of unbelief, but from a position of I want to understand. Reveal to me what God is going to do, and I will see and believe. And the angel does, and Mary comes to believe. And not just believe, but to accept. And to say then, let it be done unto me according to your word. And then the angel leaves. And then Mary is alone. What was going through her mind at that moment? When there's no longer an angelic visitor to answer questions anymore. When there's no longer the company, or at least the felt company of heaven with you as you are coming to terms with this new situation in life. How did Mary react in that situation? Well, we are told that she pondered these things. She pondered them in her heart. But Mary also tapped in to the amazing reality that in this most profound moment, where any one of us might have entered into a world of panic or fear or uncertainty or whatever, Mary turned to God. And not God outside, but God within. Because this moment changed all of humanity forever. Because now God was not a far distant being in some faraway galaxy, but he had made his dwelling within Mary. And Mary now becomes the first of our race, the first human creature to show us what to do when we find ourselves in any situation. Turn to the God who has made his dwelling within us. And she did. And in that she found her joy. Now you and I will go through this life and we will have similar situations. And by similar, I don't mean any of us is going to be asked to be the mother of God. That job was taken and it's accounted for, and Mary will have it forever. But we will go through situations, we already have gone through situations in our life that are annunciation-like moments where things catch us off guard, where we may feel underprepared or not prepared at all, where we feel like we are not able to handle what is being asked of us. And it might be sickness or illness, either of ourselves or someone that we love. It could be job loss. It could be some sort of financial trouble. It could be a betrayal that we are experiencing from a friend. It could be problems within our marriage or within our families. All of these things, we're not necessarily going to get a forewarning about them. We're not necessarily going to know they're coming. They might catch us off guard, and we might be felt left alone and frightened with them. But Mary shows us what to do in those moments. The angel declared it when he greeted her, and he said, "Hail Mary, full of grace, full to the brim with grace." There's no room for anything other than grace in Mary's being. And God saturated her entire being. But her grace did not exempt her from the felt experiences of her humanity. She's still the woman caught off guard. She's still the woman who now needs to change her plans and figure out how she's going to care for a child. She's still the woman that has to figure out how she's going to tell Joseph, how she's going to tell her parents, what she's going to tell the villagers. She's still the woman who does not know what their reactions are going to be. She's still the woman who will have her heart pierced as if by a sword. She is still the woman who will lose her child in Jerusalem. She is still the woman who will have to watch her son die on the cross. Mary is the sinless mother of God, full of grace, but she is also full of feeling and emotion. And in this way, she is a mother to us as well, a mother in our humanity. But despite what she dealt with it in grace and with grace. And that's what I think she shows us today. When the angel also said to her, right after, "You're full of grace, Mary," he says, "The Lord is with you." And Mary says, she didn't say it in the gospel, but I know she said it in her heart. She said, "Yes, he is. I know it." My friends, that's our key. That's our key in this life. No matter what we are going through, no matter what we are feeling, no matter what we are experiencing, the Lord is with you. That is the message of Christmas. That is the implication of the incarnation. That is at the heart of our Christian faith. That's what warms even the coldest days of our lives and brightens the darkest days of them. That no matter what we might be feeling, we are not alone. That's why the church repeats this greeting over and over and over again in the course of the Mass. How many times in the Mass do we say, "The Lord be with you and with your spirit," right? It's become so commonplace. But think of the full, pregnant impact of those words. Those are words of life meant for you. And you're meant to give it back to me with the same kind of joy and vigor. The Lord is with us, my friends. He is not far. He is as near as our own souls. It's the miracle and the message of Christmas. And these last moments, no matter where we're at, no matter what we have going on in our life, we feel them as we feel them. Joy, sorrow, suffering, excitement, fear, hope, all of it. We feel it all. And we do so with Mary. But with Mary, who is full of grace, and you and I, who are also being filled with grace, we have the great assurance that the Lord is with us. With that in our minds and hearts this morning, let us get ready to go to the Christmas crib tonight and tomorrow with the same joy that Mary had on that first Christmas.